Hello viewers, it is your favorite spoiler from the recap room. For more updates, stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Is George Russell really dead? The Russell family appears to be struggling on all fronts in the third season of HBO's The Gilded Age, which takes them on a wild voyage. George concentrates on pursuing his goals and attempting to keep his family financially stable while Bertha's ambitions spiral out of control. He and his wife receive wonderful news in the season's penultimate episode, but a sad incident at the end of the show threatens to ruin everything for the Russell family. Securing the Morenci mines and developing his ideas for the railway that will revolutionize the nation have been George Russell's only priorities. He assigned his loyal man, Clay, the challenging task of dealing with the mine owners. After Clay is fired as a result of their disagreement, George assigns his son Larry to complete the Morenci transaction in his place. In addition to his success, Larry brings back far more than his father had anticipated. However, with the mines in his possession, the tide turns in his favor once more, and when he confronts Clay about his incompetence, the man is also fired by his new employer. George goes one step further, responding to Clay's attempt to undermine him by revealing that he will ensure that Clay never works for anyone again, at least not in New York. Clay grows furious and swears retaliation on George after becoming frustrated with his own incapacity to perceive what Larry saw. He follows through on this promise quickly, sending a hitman to George's door that same evening. The assailant poses as a delivery person. Before shooting at George, who is in the middle of winding up work and going to the club, where he has been staying for a long now, the hitman shoots one of his secretaries dead. There is nothing between them to prevent the following bullet from striking its target, and it is aimed directly at George. But the program ends on a huge cliffhanger, leaving viewers in suspense about George's actual fate. If it had been someone else, such as poor John Adams, they would undoubtedly be dead. However, George is too significant for The Gilded Age to be eradicated so quickly, at least that is our hope. So far, the HBO series has not shied away from killing characters to advance plot and character development. However, all of them have notably been supporting characters, and the core cast has remained constant since season 1. Given that George is such a cherished character, the viewers would undoubtedly find it devastating that the show would be drastically changing its approach with his passing. The likelihood that George will be shot is the most likely scenario, although it is not fatal. But it's terrible enough to keep him bedridden for a while, which would allow Larry to take over his father's firm. Additionally, the murder attempt would heal the rift in the Russell family. It appears that Gladys and Bertha have already reconciled, particularly because Gladys' role in the home was significantly altered by Bertha's trip to London. However, George and Larry are yet to see their sister's happiness in action, and they blame Bertha for pushing her into an unwanted union. The family will finally come together when George is shot at a difficult period. They appeared to be on the verge of divorce given the growing distance between George and Bertha, particularly since Bertha chose to stand by divorced ladies instead of excluding them from society like Mrs. Astor did. The shooting is serious enough for the pair to forgive past faults and go back to the way they used to be. Even if she has a lot of ambition, it is inconceivable that she would still organize the gala in the event of her husband's death. If nothing else, her smile indicates that she is at last content, which must entail reconciling with her still living husband. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more updates.